Good evening to you all. Can you hear me? Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks. So I have sent you an assignment. Have you all got that? Have you all got the assignment?
I am from NIPM. Most of students are submit the assignments, sir.
Okay. They have completed that, no?
Yeah. Most of
Ah, ah,
students
ah.
complete it.
Good.
Okay.
Actually, I want to take this opportunity to have any, if you are having any clarifications on that the assignment to discuss with you. But if you have completed that means okay, that's all. But still, if you anyone is having any doubts, I can help you, right? Uh, so shall we start the session?
Okay, sir.
Okay, thanks. I have shared the my presentation. Hope all you can see it, right? So here I have included the assignment also. Now, as all most of you have submit the assignment, we'll straight away will move on to the session, right? If you can remember the last time we have stopped, we concluded the session at about the firewood management. Why, in when concerned about this maintenance and those things, why is it essential to may have a good firewood management system in a factory, tea factory? Can you remember? Because we skipped a couple of weeks, so I want to refresh your mind also and bring back all you to the session. That was important. Uh, why we use firewood in a tea factory? What are the
Heat the boilers, sir.
Yes, not only for the boilers. Boiler is one part. For what we use firewood? We
For
want
heat.
for the heat generation we use firewood. What are the energy sources used in a tea factory? Mainly we use electrical energy, right? Most of our work we are done by using the electrical energy. Then the thermal energy, for generation of thermal energy or a heat what we need to produce, we use firewood. The thing is, firewood we are getting from outside, right? In most cases, firewood we are getting as a at the raw form. That means it contains higher level of moisture. But the thing is, we use this firewood for the heat generation if the moisture contents are high, what will happen? We have to say the moisture content of a firewood, right? A sample is having 80% moisture. That means if we get a 100 kilogram of firewood log or just split or whatever, its moisture content is 80% means if you get a 100 kilogram of firewood, how many kilogram of water is contained in that firewood? If the moisture content is 80 means it contains only 8 kilogram of moisture or the water. So you will have only 20 kilogram of solid matter, the dry matter, to generate the heat. So 80% moisture means it's in a firewood it's a extreme case, but in most cases when you are receiving the firewood, moisture content would be around 60-70 likewise. So if the 60% moisture is there, that means if you get a 100 kilogram of firewood, that is having only 40 kilogram of combustible solid. So when you are, what happen if you use that kind of firewood for heat generation inside the furnace, when you ignite the firewood and make the fires, you set the fire, what will happen? If the moisture is 60%, that 60 kilogram of water will evaporate by absorbing the heat generated by 40 kilogram of that solid. So what will happen? The available heat for utilization of the heat generation of the dryer will be limiting. Then what will happen? You have to add more firewood, right? So what will, but in a furnace, there's optimum condition of quantity of firewood we have to use. So what will happen if you overload the furnace, right? So it will subjected to higher thermal constraints. Then very frequently the components, the furnace components will get failed due to excess heat, right? And also in a furnace, even in a boiler, there's a space to burn the firewood, right? But the space, right? The firewood, there's a optimum quantity of firewood we should include. If you overload the furnace or a boiler, what will happen? Very frequently it will fail. Then what we have to do for proper firewood management? In that case, right? What we have to do is once you receive the firewood, you have to uh, facilitate it to remove the available excess moisture, and we have to keep it for inside the firewood shed, for a certain period to get it dried properly. So when it comes to firewood management, then in a factory, if you are in a factory, you should know what is exactly firewood requirement uh, daily basis or weekly basis, right? Based on the quantity of green leaf you are receiving, you have to have proper idea how many kilograms or well, generally firewood is comes as in volumes, that means in cubic meters or cubic yards. You should know what is exact requirement. In that case, you should know what is the firewood requirement for the furnace for heat generation. In other terms, uh, quantity of firewood required to produce uh, known quantity of melting. When we calculate in a factory, we call there are certain unit cost. So in that case, we should know what is the specific fuel wood consumption of a furnace or a dryer. What is the specific fuel wood consumption means? to produce 1 kilogram of made tea, we should know what is the exact requirement of firewood. Better to be in terms of kilograms. Why it is rather than using volumes, why it is important to have in terms of mass or kilograms. In practical situation, what will happen if you are using firewood in a volume basis, say cubic meter or cubic yard, then what will happen? The way of stacking the firewood can manipulate the volumes, right? In single, we told the boku tiyala gahanawa kiyala කියන්නේ. If you stack the firewood with the spacious in arrangement, you can show the volume expanded volume. But if you go for a kilogram basis or weight basis, it will show the exact quantity available. Therefore, you should know what is the exact requirement. And our suggestion, the TRI suggestion is, Tea Research Institute suggestion is, in any factory, at any given time, a factory should maintain 3 months requirement of firewood inside the firewood shed. In some cases, we have seen the factories having huge quantity of firewood, even more than 3 months required. They are loading, but the thing is, they just put it in the outside. What will happen? It will subjected to rains, right? And even the sunshine hours, right? And then in the night time, what will happen? With the night time, the dews, some mist can generate. So what will happen? Those will change the condition of the firewood rapidly. So more moisture will retain on the firewood, right? Therefore, you should have a proper firewood shed. Earlier, we used these most cases roofing sheets. We have used, but in nowadays, some factories they practice to use as a shelter these UV protected polythenes. They are transparent polythene films you can buy with a higher thickness, right? Then in that case, you can use it to make a shelter instead of having a firewood shed constructed with these roofing sheets. So anyhow, we should maintain a 3 months stock. But the thing is, we should make sure that once we receive the firewood, it has to cut and split before stacking inside the firewood shed, right? And I told you we should know exactly what is our uh, firewood requirement, right? What is our firewood requirement in terms of to produce kilograms of made tea, or as a specific firewood consumption, or as a hourly requirement of a dryer. Then say if a particular dryer having uh, production or the drying capacity of 300 kilograms of made tea, and for that the same dryer, the firewood requirement is also 300 kilogram of firewood in hourly basis. That means to produce 1 kilogram of made tea, in that furnace or that dryer needs 1 kilogram of firewood, right? In that case, there are a number of ways to feed that requirement. The best way is, because in a furnace, even in a boiler, at any time, if you are opening the feeding door, the firewood feeding door, what will happen? excess amount of heat will lose through that opening, right? Once you open the door, ambient air can suck into the drying zone, the firing zone. What will happen? Then it will drop down the temperature. Therefore, we have to minimize the number of openings of furnace door, right? If we need to exactly open it, only you should open the door. And once you open the door, very quickly you have to close back it again. So the best way of feeding firewood is practically you should know what is exact requirement for hour. Then you can divide that requirement into 4. That means in this our example, if the firewood output is the firewood requirement is 300 kilograms, so if you divide into 4, that means 75 kilogram of lot you have to feed for the furnace. How many intervals? In 15 minutes interval. That means in every 15 minutes that furnace needs 75 kilograms of firewood. But the thing is, say if the first feeding you feed a very well dried lot of firewood, right? Then for the next 15 minutes you are feeding firewood with somewhat higher moisture. So what happens? You didn't feed the exact firewood requirement or the exact solid requirement to the furnace. You add more water. So what will happen? The temperatures will fluctuate. Then it will badly affect for the qualities of the meat. Therefore, it is very essential whenever you use firewood for heat generation, it has to be inside the firewood shed. How long? At least 3 months, right? Then only it will get eligible to feed for the furnace. So if I coming back to the same example, the 300 kilogram dryer, it need 300 kilogram of firewood. So we feed 75 kilogram of well-dried firewood in every 15 minutes. That's the way. So this you can see, I think you can see my screen. What is this separator? This is normally if I tell you feed 75 kilogram in every 15 minutes interval, when you are trying to do it in practically, you should have a weighing balance and you have to one by one you have to keep the logs until it get 75. But here what they have done, that 15 minutes interval requirement they have found, and a quantity, a weight equal to that quantity, say 75 kilograms, they have put in this side of this balance. It's like a seesaw, right? So what will happen? You can this end modify it to keep the firewood. So what's happened? Once you keep on keeping firewood here, well, once it get equal to this quantity, say in this case 75 kilograms, what will happen? This will get balanced. Then you know the amount of firewood available is same, so equal to 75 kilogram. Or otherwise, you can use this type of hanging balance, dial type balance, right? You have to, then what you have to do, you have to keep firewood here in this uh, apparator, right? You can keep the firewood here. Say what will happen when it reach to 75 kilograms. You know this is right now my requirement is there, so you can keep it as a separate lot. Here also you can see firewood is well dried. So by having a very firewood management system is very essential. Another thing is you have to maintain the furnace in a proper manner. Furnace means the way you ignite the firewood. So it also essential then you should have routing maintenance schedule for each and every section of the tea processing area. What are the different processing areas within section? When it comes to this our maintenance work, the even with greenleaf reception also we can take. That includes the balancers and the elevators, right? All these things you should have a maintenance schedule section wise. So when it comes to our dryers, right, especially for the furnaces, boilers, in a boiler you should have, because if you are having a boiler, you should have a boiler licensed boiler operator in your factory. That means a person who authorized to operate a boiler, because boiler means there are a lot of precautions you have to take, right? Because it's a pressure vessel. That means it's always maybe in the form of water or maybe in the form of vapor, right? It will get inside the system or the boiler, right? It will stored in a higher under high pressure conditions. Therefore, there are many safety precautions applied in a boiler system to minimize these hazardous situations, right? So therefore, the person who operates it should competent to control these settings in proper way. Therefore, it is very essential to have a boiler licensed boiler operator, right? And also you have to get a boiler fitness certificates, right? Those you have to obtain periodically. Those are mandatory requirements by the Sri Lankan law, labor law, right? There are there are district factory engineers, not only tea factories, factory engineers available attached to district office of the Department of Labor. They visit the factories in most cases once in 6 months. So they visit the factory and check whether these kind of boilers obtain their fitness certificates, right? And also other than these boilers, there are many pressure equipments, the pressure vessels utilizing in a tea factory. When it comes to these color separators or the color sorting machines, right, there are separate storage tanks are available to store compressed air inside these tanks. So those also have to get be checked with the proper license authorized person at least once in 6 months. So those also you should include into your maintenance schedules, right? So the greasing, lubrication work, daily basis you have to, the people have to attend, and also the cleaning machineries, those also in daily basis we have to attend. And also there are many machines, belt driven machines, right? Electric motor is there, right? So the motor, it will generate, it will rotate, and it from the belt mechanism it will drive the machine also. So in that cases you have to check the condition of these rubber belts very often. You have to check the condition of these belts. Otherwise, what will happen during processing? If maybe because of due to one rubber belt, the machine can get if the by using a worn out these kind of rubber belt, what will happen? Machine will get stopped and you can't bring it back until you get a belt. So what will happen? If your factory doesn't have a proper stock of that belt, then you have to wait until you are getting these from outside. So your process will get affected. Therefore, having a proper maintenance schedule is essential. So when it comes to furnace, again I'm coming back to the at least once in 2 weeks. In a 2 weeks interval, you have to check the furnace for any smoke leaks, right? So there are method to be called it is as a smoke test. Then you have to perform a smoke test once in 2 weeks and make sure that your furnace is free from any smoke leaks, because the risk of having smoke leak to where leaks, this smoke, if your flue gas path is having any leaks due to corroded or damaged furnace components, the cast iron components, what will happen? The air can having some fumes or even the ash, and likewise the smoke also can directed to the drying chamber. Then what will happen? The tea's quality will get badly affected due to smoke. The teas get smoke taint. So we have to make sure these parts are doesn't have any air leaks. The other thing is, if a furnace is having a smoke leak or a dryer is having a smoke leak, means at any time a spark, what we call spark, ginipukuru, can enter into the drying chamber, and then it can turn the whole system, this scenario, into a disaster, because even one tiny spark or a podi kiniyanguru kella, if we send to the drying chamber, what will happen? Inside the dryer, the teas are very with a very little moisture. It's somewhere around 1 to 2% moisture, so it is in a highly dried form. So if a spark or guinea purak will contact touch with the tea particle, what will happen? Very within a very couple of seconds, the tea can get ignited and can become an uncontrollable fire. Therefore, it is really essential to do a proper maintenance schedule for the furnaces. Right, once in a 2 weeks, you have to check for any smoke leaks, right? And in most cases, especially in our low country region, for the poor day, they do not receive the green leaves. So the day after the poor day will become a resting day for your dry and the furnace. This is the suitable date you have to maintain your furnace to attend any minor issues, right? Therefore, you should have a very proper pre-planned schedule for make sure you are uninterrupted processing inside the tea factory, right? What is this ID damper? This is the ID damper used to control the volume of the flue gas. Flue gas duma. You can control the volume delivered through this path. Why it is important, right? If your damper this opening, if you keep just permanently open, what will happen? Normally, ID fan is designed, ID means induced draft fan is designed to absorb the smokes generated through the fuel wood combustion inside the furnace area. So it will facilitate by supplying required oxygen supply to the firewood for proper igniting. But if you keep the damper fully open, generally you have to find out what is the exact damper position to be maintained in the factory, and you have to keep it at that place. If it is more than that, the required air volume, what will happen? Then excess amount of heat can leach through this damp opening, right? So it will facilitate for heat losses, then the increase of firewood consumption of the furnace. Therefore, this damp position of the ID fan, it is really essential, right? It should be adjusted according to the color of the smoke, which will comes out of the chimney, right? You can see it is more like white color smoke, right? Then you have to adjust the damp position until you will get a, say if you have opened excessively the damp, what will happen? Instead of is having this kind of white color smoke, it will make some color loss, flue gas, flue flow. What will happen? Colorless means then excessively heat will escape through the chimney. So you will waste your energy and unnecessarily the heater components get heated. Therefore, we have to adjust it in a proper way. That is really essential. Don't know whether you can see the color of this light. What will happen? It's like almost ash color. Here, this is a side door of a dryer, right? This is a picture I taken personally. We have opened this side opening. So, and this is one first sign of having smoke leak. What will happen once we switch on our torch? You can see the smoke through the comes through the furnace from the main fan. Main fan of the dryer, right? So we have to periodically check those to ensure we don't have any smoke leaks to the dryer, right? This is a place a factory caught with fire due to a smoke leak of a neglected smoke leak of a dryer. This is very serious case. Therefore, we should make every precautions not to happen such cases, right? So this is the firewood stacking. It will reduce the moisture. At least 2 months requirement you have to maintain. Ideally, better to have 3 months. Right? This is the way it stacks. You can see firewood, cut and split firewood stack in alternatively. The පැත්ත මාරු කරලා දාලා තියෙන මේ අතර කෙලින් අනිත් පැත්තට දාලා. Then what will happen? It will facilitate, it will give some void, right? To remove the available moisture of the whole lot. Right? You can see the firewood has properly dried. This is the way stacking the firewood. This is the UV protected, the transparent sheet I told earlier, right? Instead of having a conventional firewood sheet, you can have this kind of parabolic type structure. It is actually cost effective rather than investing into a big firewood shed made out of with the roofing sheets. This is very economical, and also this kind of shed you can keep for more than 15 years, right? Very effectively you can dry the firewood even during the rainy days, right? If you keep it inside this kind of firewood shed. The feeding firewood also is very important. This is the way, but it is I think it's better. It's too much for you if you are in a factory or tea estate. These finer steps helpful for you. Right here you can see excess quantity of uh, white color, or the it's almost like white or blue color. Smoke is escaping through the chimney. Why it's happening, right? This means it need more air to combustion. Therefore, what will happen? We have to open the damper than the this position. So what will happen? Then it will facilitate having more air. Then this unburned particles escape will stop, right? Here what will happen in this case? You can see the quantity of uh, this white color quantity of fumes exits is not take place here. Therefore, this we can take as the ideal condition. But the thing is, it is also there are several steps you have to follow. But this is you can just showing this to have a general idea for you. So from here onwards, I have completed the grading, sorry, the drying component. Now, then we have to look into the machineries we use for grading. Right? What are the grading machineries? There are a number of grading machines. One is Chota rotary shifter. It's like a multi-tray shifter. So there are measures. It's having a rotation in a horizontal plane, right? This is a Chota shifter. What are the things you have to be attended? You have to under your maintenance schedule. Can anyone guess? What are the maintenance schedule you have to? Don't know whether you can see there are belt guards are available, right? First thing is the what is safety, right? Here you can see here also guard has provided, right? So this color markings has shown this is a hazardous one, right? It shows we have to keep a distance from the machine. So very first thing is we have to make sure these guards are in order, right? The belt guards and the other guards, right, are in order. And also this machine is having these drive belts, and also there's a feeding conveyor, right? Periodically we have to check the condition of these feeding conveyors, right? And also the drive belts, the rubber belts. Very often it can get failed, right? Those we have to check. And also the condition of the bearings and the lubrications daily we have to check. Those are essential, right? And also once a week you have to clean the machine. It means day to day you have to clean the machine, but once a week you have to thoroughly clean, especially these motors also you have to clean and check whether is there any electrical places for points for having electrical short circuits, right? You have to check those things also, right? And also these bearings has properly aligned, you have to check. You can see this framework is there, structure, right? Periodically in most factories they do not check those condition of these structures. You have to check those, right? Then sometimes you may identify small, tiny, like hairy type cracks on the structure, right? Fractures. Those are the starting point of a failures. In that case, any moving machine, periodically you have to check the fitness of the machine, right? Those are the essential. This is a Chota shifter having multiple trays, right? And also here it's having CV mechanism. The lacking halana, right? What will happen? Periodically you have to check the condition of these meshes or the sieves, right? Then only you can have optimum grading of tea. So is not essential. Then other grading machine is Michi oscillatory shifter. It's not like Chota shifter, it's a single tray shifter. It's having oscillatory motion in a vertical plane, right? This grading machine, the Michi shifter, is using for extracting leafy type teas, right? So therefore the output uniformity is governed by the speed, right? This is a Michi shifter, right? So again, you can have belt guards are there, right? And lubrication points and the condition of the machine. You have to very often you have to check, right? Especially the bearing condition. The first sign of a failed bearing is giving unusual noise, right? That is the first sign. Then we should be able to identify that uh, unusual noise. Then it can very at the beginning we can prevent the machine failures, right? So those you have to attend and check very often, and you can see the wooden parts also there. So with the time those also can get decayed. We have to check those, right? So here I don't know whether you can see this is a shaft, moving shaft. What can happen? Very easily a user can get injured with this because of this rotating shaft. This will rotate around 250 to 25 to 250 rpm speed. Very heavy machine. So therefore, if you are having such axle, you have to cover it properly, right? To uh, minimize the hazardous chances, right? So what are the other machines? This is a Middleton, right? Middleton stock extractor we call, right? Here there are the doors to adjust the feeding. So we have to check those whether these points are working, and also mounted on leaf springs, this Middleton. So in that case, right, periodical you have to check physical condition of these leaf springs. Leaf springs කියන්නේ දුනුකොළ උඩ තමයි high කරලා තියෙන්නේ, right? And also there are lubricating points are there, right? Greasing points, so you have to grease them properly. And also the condition of this sieving, the normally for a Middleton stock extractor, bubble trays are being fixed. Bubble trays, we call it as bubble trays. It's like a bubble, so we have to kind of check the condition of these bubbles, right? Because it is very important to have exact size, aperture size of the bubbles. So at the uh, time of installation, we have to check, make sure the bubbles are in proper order, the correct size, and with the periodically due to wear and tear, those opening can get change. Therefore, periodically you have to check those also, and those bubble trays fixed for wooden frames. Frame එකට high කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Therefore, periodically we have to check the condition of the frame, these kind of wooden particles, right? Then this also not essential. This is the way of correctly feeding bubble tray, right? Another machine is suction. We know it act as a grading and cleaning machine, right? And also it helpful for separation the particles by its different densities, right? We when it comes to factory level, we call them as heavy and secondary grades, right? So it's having a belt conveyor for the suction maneuver. We have to check the condition of these feed conveyors, belt conveyors, and also for proper working of a suction winnower, there are dampers to close the chutes. What these called chutes? This winnower is working. The principle is density separation. The separation the particles by its different densities. So there are extracting points keep under the winnower. Those are the place we call chutes. This is the place where you feed the teas to the winnower. Right? This is the winnower opening. This is the suction fan. So what's happened? The fan sucks air through this opening. So you have to feed the teas as a layer, thin layer through this opening. There's a feed conveyor, belt conveyor එකක් තියෙනවා. And also you have to have a uniform T layer to get feed. මෙතනින් එක වැටෙනවා. Though what will happen? Due to suction of the air, the heaviest T particles will fall from this chute. But comparative lighter particles, what will happen? It will go backward, may extracted from this chute or this chute, right? So likewise, for here, the most last chute, it's having the most flaky teas will extracted from the chutes located at the last end, right? So these openings has to be properly closed. Otherwise, what will happen? The air can suck through these points. Oh, right. So you have to keep these dampers in close positions. They are weight adjusted. So in most cases, we have seen these are not properly maintained. Those you have to check. And also there are cotton bags, we call cotton sacks, to collect the dust particles of the extracted through the winnower. These also we have to periodically check. And also the fan is located in between this suction point and the cotton sacks. So any flaky particles available, lighter particles will go through this fan. So there's a place where the dampers is located to change the air flow volume. In these places, the lighter particles can get blocked. Therefore, at least once a month, you have to check these points in a winnower for air leaks. Another thing is, this is working with air. There should the winnower should not have any other air leaking points. Not like dryer. Here air is sucks through this place. So if you are having any openings likewise, what will happen? Rather than air suction take place from the opening, from these side places, air can suck to the fan. So what will happen? The separation will get badly affected. So these are the main points. And cleanliness, these cotton sacks, you have to very periodically, on daily basis, you have to clean, right? In the bottom, there's a zip. By opening the zip, the available lighter particles got trapped inside that filter bags. You can take it out, and by using stream of compressed air, you can clean those. Those are very, very essential, right? Then other one is color sorter, the color separator, any grade. Before color separating, it has to pass through the winnow, and then only we have to send it for the color sorting, right? In a color separator, actually, in our level, very few points are available for the maintenance purposes, right? there are any belt driven mechanism is available, you have to check condition of the belts, right? And any wear and tear, right? Because now in a color sorter, it is somewhat sophisticated machine. Most of the color sorter providers, machine providers, all the color sorter providers, they will having a service agreement with the factory, right? What is the service agreement? That means generally they having this agreement annually for a calendar year. They get they charge a fee, annual fee. By charging annual fee, what they are doing? They are coming to agreement between the factory and the machine provider, color separator provider. They will based on the agreement, right? Generally what they are having once a month, they will visit the factory and do the general service work of a color separator. But the thing is, there are some in most modern sophisticated color separators, there are filtering mechanisms. We call these oil filters, air filters, likewise, right? And the compressor is there. The compressor inside the compressor oil is there. Generally, every 5,000 hours interval, the compressor oil has to be changed. Likewise, there are certain limitations or certain requirements are to be fulfilled there. So, with our maintenance schedule, we should know at when these services has taken place and when what are the services are due in next couple of weeks or months, right? Those are we should keep in mind, because now factory is a business entity. So generally this oil changing work, uh, it is high cost, right? So if you are having a proper plan, schedule, then what you can do it, then it will easy for the financial management also, right? Those are the main points. And there are other machines, fibromats, 3T stock extractor, then the tariniper. Actually those are mainly act as cleaning machines. When it comes to this 3T stock extractor, it is a high voltage. Uh, Inside there, high voltage mechanism is working. So there are charging rollers and brushes are there. What is called brushes? In a rotating for the revolving drum, this the charging rolls. It's a revolving drum. Caracana drum. So what will happen? It's not easy to supply if you want to power supply for a revolving gadget. So in that case, we use carbon brushes to pass the current. So very often you have to check the condition of the carbon brushes also. Not like other machines here. In a 3T stock extractor, high voltage is operated. So therefore we have to use every precaution to minimize the current hazards, electrical hazards, right? Those are essential. And here the Ternipa is having a rubber belt, right? So there's a pressure roller. The pressure is applied due to the pressure applied of this roller to this belt that is passing in between will get crushed, right? That is the mechanism. So this again safety works, right? We have to make sure the safety precautions we are taking, right? And it's those are having moving parts. The belt you have to periodically check, right? Those are the things you have to maintain. Here also, the we call the fibromat. This is actually base version of, could be say as the base version of this treaty stock extract. Actually, this here the in fibromat. This is a generally 12-inch in diameter PVC rollers revolving, right? Around 30 RPM like. So what's happened? You can see that this green color, this strip, this is a felt packing which touch this revolving PVC drum, PVC pipe. කැරගෙන PVC එක touch වෙන්න මෙතන ඉඳලා තියෙනවා felt packing එක. Right? Due to the friction and the contactness of this felt packing and the PVC tube, what will happen? The PVC tube will get statistically charged. ස්ථಿති විද්‍යුතය මේක ආරෝපණය වෙනවා. But you can remember, when you are in grade 6, what you have done? You comb your hair, right? And if you take your comb to near small tiny piece of paper, what will happen? The paper particles will attract to the comb due to this statistical charge, right? Same principle used in this fibromat. This mechanism further modified with the at the 3T stroke extract and used with high voltage, right? This is a one place you have to take very precautions when you are dealing with this kind of 3T stroke extractor. In a fibromat, you don't have, you can't see such hazardous things. Very simply, you can use this fibromat, but the thing is, here also again the weight adjusters are there because it will facilitate to the continuous contact with the in between the roll and this felt packing. This is the most important thing, is this fibromat is this felt packing. So you have to make sure it has properly cleaned and the packing is in a ideal condition. If get wasted, you have to renew those also, right? Again, this is a moving bed, so therefore we have to periodically check those condition of these machineries, right? Those are the grading machineries. I think I have covered most of the topics related to maintenance, right? Basic maintenance work, right? So you should have proper idea about these things what we need to do inside the tea factory. Other than this, the capacitor banks are also there. So capacitor banks are very important. It plays a important role to manage the maximum electricity demand properly. Therefore, periodically you have to check those also. And other than this capacitor bank, then generator, most of the factories having standby power generator to use during a power cuts. So what are the things you have to consider when concerned about this generator? It is most of the things are electricity generators are diesel operated, therefore it's having an engine. And what you need to start the engine, you should to run the starter motor, you should have a battery, right? 12 volt or 24 volt battery you should have. So generator means it's a idling machine, එක නිකන් පාවිච්චි වෙන්නේ නැති එකක්. Therefore the battery is there, right? Like a car battery, right? Sometimes high amperage battery, high capacity. You have to periodically recharge those batteries. Otherwise, what will happen? It will get dead due to drainage, right? You should have a recharge mechanism with the charger. Periodically, you have to charge these batteries, and also you have to, as it is diesel powered, most having a diesel tank, always the tank has to be filled with the diesel, right? And also before dealing with the generator, you should know what is the maximum diesel requirement for the generator, because the generator capacities are monitored by measured by kVA, kilovolt amperes, right? Generally it has to match with the size of the transformer you are using to get the three-phase electricity for the factory, right? If the transformer is 250 kVA means they have designed that transformer. They are assuming that your maximum requirement is 250 kV. So the generator also has to be ideal to be to support by 100% by the backing up power. In sometimes we have seen they have used low capacity generators because of the price factor. In such case, if you are having a lower capacity generator, you may able to operate only certain sections in a whole tea factory, right? If the generator is capable to give the whole electricity requirement of the factory, then the whole factory you can run with the generator, right? But even when it comes to generator, those are having filters, and sometimes in most cases generator providing companies they make they have a service agreement between the factory, and then at least once a month they will visit the factory and see the condition and do the minor service work for the generator. Those are the things. When it comes to this maintenance work, we have to discuss with you. If you are having any queries, you can raise this time, right? If you are having any issues, we can discuss. Most of the part I have covered regarding the tea machineries, but the thing is you may not be able to see all these in slides. You better to have your own note, right? I know sometimes this subject is somewhat strange for some students, because we didn't had the opportunity to make commercial or factory visits. If we had this kind of chance, then most of the things you have to experience by yourself. But here most of the things, theory parts, you have to covered in online version, right? So if you are having any issues, kindly let me know. Then shall we wind up the session, today's session now? You don't have any WhatsApp group also, anything, no? Then otherwise we can uh, make any clarifications. You can make it through that also. Otherwise, also you can through the course coordinate also. You can have you can raise, so you can make any clarifications. So seems there are 20 odd participants. Hope all you have submitted the assignment. So I will go through it, and then we'll see if I can have idea about yourselves also. So from here onward, shall we wind up the session, right? And we'll meet up again due course. Thanks. Okay. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night. Okay.